So look, before we get into the meat and bones of this topic, let me just tell you, I totally understand the appeal of making a video game that's highly detailed and realistic looking. Having a game that looks like real life does make things more immersive and, especially for games like the new Modern Warfare trilogy, it helps to reinforce the gritty and down to earth depiction of war that the series is going for. And yeah, sometimes you can make games that are very good in a short amount of time. But I cannot stress this enough. We are supposed to be in the next generation of gaming. If the next generation of gaming is only capable of having 3 or 4 AAA games on it before the console is full, with campaigns that can barely stretch to the 6-hour mark, then it's not the next generation of gaming. It's a backward step in my opinion. And let's be honest, the graphics and performance, the stream of releases, the payoffs for these things flourishing have not been worth it. With the 360, I put the game in the disc tray, it started to load. It might have to download a patch here and there, but overall, I'm gaming within minutes. Yes, the graphics aren't hyper realistic, and most games are 30 frames per second, but the performances run great and the game looks detailed enough that you can get a sense of realism, with plenty of campaign time and multiplayer content. Then we have the Xbox One, which was when we started to have to download games entirely to play them. And you know what? It's not the best step forward in gaming, but at least the games are 50, 60 gigabytes at most. Plenty of space to download 10, 11 AAA games and load of indie games. I still think having facial models that are slightly more detailed, having 60 frames per second, and having less content than some other games isn't really worth the trade-off, but it's livable. It was a small sacrifice to make gaming better. But come on, the Xbox Series X is designed to be the most up-to-date gaming console available, yet for some reason I have to half the amount of choice and content I have when I want to play games. Because for some reason having games that run at 120 frames per second, have 4K mandatory graphics, and the ability to see every hair on someone's beard is a mandatory requirement for these games. Which leads me to Modern Warfare 3. In order to just play the beta, you needed to have downloaded the actual beta and the Call of Duty HQ, which is the weird HUD used in Modern Warfare 2 that they've decided to forcefully incorporate into all their games to promote Warzone apparently. And you know how much this is? About 100 gigabytes. And the beta is 25. Yep, that's right. Imagine needing to download 125 gigabytes worth of stuff to play a fucking beta. Now, with the campaign being able to be played early, you need to download the campaign packs and the Call of Duty HQ if you haven't already, which means that it takes up to 150 gigabytes just to play a campaign. The game is still set to install the full multiplayer experience and the open world zombies mode, so I have no idea how big this game's gonna be. I'm sorry, but it should not be taking over 200 gigabytes just to play one game. It's one game, that's it. It's not even a special game, it's just the next Call of Duty. If I'm playing a game that has over 100 gigabytes worth of stuff that needs to be downloaded, I am expecting a truly unique experience. For instance, Halo, the Master Chief Collection is 137 gigabytes to install. But with that, you're getting 6 campaigns that can be played solo or co-op. You have the Firefight Horde mode from 2 different games. You have 6 different multiplayers, custom games, Forge, Theatre mode, and constant updates such as armor, name tag customization, and small quality of life tweaks. On top of this, if you are a PC player on Steam, you have access to the Mod Workshop that can give you hundreds of hours on top of that to add to your experience. Or maybe you have a game like Starfield. Now, I know that people's opinions on this game have been varying, and on Twitter I've said myself that of the mainline Bethesda games, this is the one that I struggled to get into the most. But once you are into it, it's very enjoyable. You have hundreds of worlds to explore, people to see and enemies to fight, and the amount of quests and collectibles to gather will keep you busy for ages. And spoiler alert, I haven't gotten there myself, but apparently on New Game Plus mode you can do the game all over again, but the universe is slightly different to give you a unique experience. To me, that makes the 125 gigabytes needed to play it, and the lower graphics and frame rate, worth it. But the latest Call of Duty needing 150 gigabytes just to play a campaign? Absolutely ridiculous. Like, genuinely, I cannot think of any way to defend this. It's a campaign. What the fuck is going on? I do not need 60 frames per second to enjoy it. I do not need to see every scratch and dent in my gun to enjoy it. I do not need to see every hair in Captain Price's goddamn mustache to enjoy it. If you ever needed a clear-cut example of why high performance rates and graphics just aren't worth it, this game is the physical embodiment of that. And I know I'm going on at Activision and Xbox for doing this, and don't get me wrong, I'm coming back to Activision in a minute, But again, Sony has been pushing this high frame rates and graphics bullshit for ages because of some weird desire to make sure that every single one of their games is basically just movies with a bit of gameplay. Ever since The Last of Us, it seems like Sony has prioritized the cinematic experience over having a game packed full of, well, gameplay. Oh my god, in Horizon Forbidden West, if you look in the theatre mode, you can actually see the map reflected in Aloy's eye. Okay, and who the fuck cares? How does this help me with the game? All that's telling me is that the game is currently wasting precious gigabyte space rendering this instead of it being used for gameplay or content to make the game better. Oh my god, God of War Ragnarok can run at 120 frames per second. Isn't that amazing? I mean, yeah, I can totally see why it's necessary to have a game run at 120 frames per second. Watching Kratos sit in a boat for 5 minutes just wouldn't be the same without it. But yeah, these are just some problems with the general game industry. As I said, I was going to come back to Activision, so let's do that. What about Modern Warfare 3 itself is so awful? Or, I don't know, maybe it's about the fact that we're paying 60 fucking quid for a DLC? I'm sure you've seen videos online already, so the fact that people are beating this entire 50 gigabyte campaign and it is only offering between 4 to 5 hours of gameplay is ridiculous. This is a glorified DLC that is just using assets from the previous game in Warzone, stretching it out as much as it can, and then making some missions a bit more open world so they can drag out the runtime. Because when I've been playing COD in the past, my first thoughts were definitely, oh wow, this campaign would have been much better if they turned it into fucking Far Cry. And on top of that, the multiplayer is just maps that have been copied from a previous game. So they don't have to put any effort into creating new maps, and they can just go, oh look, 17 maps guys, here's 17 brand new drawings we made for you. If you ignore the fact that we just traced over them with some drawings we already had, pretty much all of the multiplayer is just Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer with a few new operators and weapons ported into it. So if you've played Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer and are expecting a brand new, challenging multiplayer experience, fuck you. And the zombies. Do I even need to say anything? Even if we ignore the fact that this is Treyarch doing it, and they're just using a storyline that should have ended 4 fucking times already, the gameplay just looked shit. End of story. We were told that this year would be a break for Call of Duty. Activision was gonna let it rest, let the teams relax a bit, focus on their designs and ideas, and then let them bring us a new COD in 2024. But you couldn't fucking do it, could you? You had to rush something out for the yearly release despite the fact that it's obviously garbage. Fuck this game, fuck Activision, fuck these business practices, fuck modern game development, and fuck anyone who supports these counterintuitive game and development methods. Look, I know this has been more of a rant than anything actually constructive that my usual videos focus on, but let's be real, this shouldn't be a problem to begin with. What executives are looking at modern day gaming, seeing these high performance games that don't have anywhere near enough content to justify taking up 25% of a console space and going, yeah, terrific work, let's keep doing it. Especially if these are the sort of games forcing huge amounts of crunch onto the poor developers for content that, let's be honest, is nowhere near worth it. So yeah, thanks for listening to my rant. I know it's not my usual video and someone else has most likely already talked about this in a more constructive way. But it still pisses me off, and I wanted to get it off my chest because seeing this level that gaming has sunk to, it's just ridiculous, let's be honest. Small channel update. Sorry for the lack of videos recently. I've just been doing some stuff over the past month and I really haven't had access to my regular setup. I'm still going to get those Man of Steel videos out the way. I've got some other scripts to record and process, and I am getting there. You should get a few videos this month. So yeah, hopefully I should be pumping out my video output and get some more live streams going this month, because hopefully my internet connection and the setup that I have for live streaming is going to be a bit better this time. But yeah, thank you lads and lasses for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing and checking out some other videos. And if you're feeling really generous, consider donating to my YouTube or through Patreon. I also have a Twitter and occasionally I do live streams. But overall, I just hope you had a great day and hopefully I will see you in the next video.